honestly, I only very recently confessed this to my mother. Because when I was about 7, 8, didn't want to go to school, so feigned illness, I'm kind of going, ow, tummy ache. So my mother went, fine, don't go to school, stay there. We'll go to the doctor.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, oh, shit. She'd already done this to my sister. Doctor said, don't waste my time with this stupid child. A big row. So we go to the doctor, and he's, examining me, and I'm going, ow. And he goes, you need to sit in the waiting room. Sit in the waiting room. So I'm sitting there thinking, this is awful. He's in there now telling my mother there's nothing wrong with me. I'm going to get in such trouble. Come back in. You've got something called appendicitis. And so next week, you'll be going into hospital to have your appendix out.
Oh.
So now I'm thinking, I'm really fucked because either I have an operation that I don't need, or I tell this doctor that there's nothing wrong with me, and then I've got 2 very angry adults in the room. So had the operation.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were prepared to have one of your internal organs removed just for the sake of that life.
You've got to commit, I always feel. Yeah. And that's the mistake a lot of children make. They don't commit to their lives. And also, I was keeping people employed.
That job creator.
Yeah, the NHS, they're not busy enough.
When I was a kid, my mum, she cooked a lot, West Indian background, Jamaican. We love fried fish and stuff like that. And, we went to the fun fair and we got some little treats, candy floss, goldfish.
Nice.
And my mum was downstairs and I came home and I thought to myself, I want to cook for my mum. Do you know what I mean? I want to be that kid that supports her,
That's good.
And Ballsy, what I called him, was looking at me in the tank. He was swimming around, a little round, looking at me, and I thought, Ballsy,
Ballsy,
you
great
will
name.
taste nice with a little bit of Scotch bonnet and salt and pepper. So I got the frying pan, I didn't realise you need oil, so I just put the frying pan on, really hot, really high. And I took Ballsy out, and Ballsy gave me a look, and I've got the same... And I picked up Ballsy and I just slammed him down in the frying pan.
You cooked a goldfish?
But the thing is, I thought, that doesn't smell right. So I added the salt and pepper, and Ballsy, he just went... So, I tried to pin him down a little bit, and Ballsy's eyes rolled around the frying pan.
A duty.
I never forget that sound.
Same sound the cat made when you let him out the microwave, I would imagine. I watched a thing recently, and it was about, the childhoods of serial killers and the fact that they all torture animals.
Hello? I have a profession as a social worker,
Also,
so,
it's very Norman Bates to be like, I'm doing it for Mother.
Was she in a rocking chair at the time with a sort of bun on the back? Jimmy, over to you, my friend. So, the informative childhood original sin.
OK, well, you know that thing you do when you're at school of drawing a spunky dick on a desk?
Yeah.
Basically, all I did was that. Although, scale-wise... So, what we did was we got some petrol...
Wow.
And we laid out a dick on the school field, and then we burnt the dick into the field, so that from every classroom in the school you could see a massive spunking cock that was burnt into the playing field. But it's a victimless crime, really. I would recommend it to anyone watching. I mean, don't do... Actually, no, I should say don't do that at your school unless you want to be a fucking legend.
At what point in the school day did you manage to pull that off?
Oh, no, this was a nighttime affair.
Stop it.
It's not... You
thought you
can't
were
do
in the
that
day.
in the day.
It was in lunch break or
Who
something.
do you think I am? Just wandered back in lunch, going, no, I've just got some petrol, I'm just going to burn a massive flaming cock into the playing fields. I'm sure everyone would be cool with that, right? Right?
What was the punishment? Surely
Oh, we didn't get caught for that.
What?
There's no statute of limitations. You're admitting it now, so what will
What
the
are they going to do,
punishment be?
take back my GCSEs?
That's a great story. Well, to any viewers watching at home, if you do have a burning sensation on your penis, then do ring the number provided at the end of the show. It's very indicative, actually, of the patriarchal society that it was a burning penis that you decided to draw, Jimmy. What's wrong with a flaming vagina?
Nothing, and I'm right here.
So one of my first ever jobs was in cosmetics. And just before that, I was working in a clothes shop in the same shopping centre, and I hated it. I hated my manager. She was a bitch. She's not here, is she? No, don't, because she'll hit me. I ended up leaving that job and going to work for the cosmetic company.
Right.
And you sort of walk down this fire escape stairs, outside stairs, to get into the staffing. As I was walking, I got to the bottom step, and as I put my foot down, I was like, what the fuck have I just stood in? And it was a dead pigeon. Like, just...
At the mucky stage.
And no, at the worst possible stage, to the point when I think I was wearing, like, Ugg boots, and it was all in the grooves of my shoe.
I walked into my uncle once covered in pigeon. Yes, sexually deviant lived in the attic.
So I've hobbled to the counter, and I just found, like, a foundation brush. Got right into the ridges, scooped it all out, and threw the foundation brush with dead pigeon in the bin.
Sure.
I've spied this manager that I hated. She come in proper cocky. She went, oh, here he is. So she was trying to show her. She went, go on then, make me over. And I just looked at her and I went, take a seat.
I've got a very bad feeling about this.
And I went, we should do a foundation colour match on you, shouldn't we? She went, yeah, whatever, I'll go and do what you want. So I went, just get your colour. So I reach into the bin to get the foundation brush out that I've just used on my shoe. I got the foundation pot, I mixed it together. I'd done her foundation and she went, oh, it's actually a really nice colour, it's a little bit bitty. I went, yeah, it's got exfoliating properties, have a lovely day.
I was one of 4 siblings, but I was a beast. So when I ran the bath and got in, I never quite got it right, so the water would come over the edge. So one night I got in the bath, the water went over, I'm trying to mop the water up, a panel came open, and I found a mucky book belonging to one of my brothers. The mucky book contained naked women, it wasn't right, but the readers' wives were given strong representation.
The readers' wives?
Yes. The readers' wives, Claire. There was one, Jean from Hants, and I like a backstory. And the fact she was dressed as a policewoman, in my head, she'd caught me committing a crime.
Had she disciplined you?
It was the only way I could get aroused.
Oh, God.
No, it was,
OK.
No, it wasn't discipline like that. What she said was, you can work off your punishment with me now. Saddest thing is, this is a genuine fantasy. And I knew she wasn't real police, it was PVC.
Oh.
It was a very shoddy uniform. I don't know how you're going to improve policing with anything crotchless. It just doesn't help.
How many times were you visiting Jean?
A lot.
OK.
We had a good thing. I was like a regular offender.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like masturbating anymore. It felt like I was a snitch. No, but this isn't the shameful bit. The shameful bit is, one night I was meeting some friends and I was like, I haven't got time for the backstory, so I'll just get... No, I'll just...
Good for the show. Carry on.
Yep, get started. I'll get started.
Yep.
Stop my hands doing that. So I was already most of the way there, and I took Jean out just to go away. And as I pulled it out, my dad had obviously discovered it, and he'd swapped it for a Catholic newsletter.
Oh, that's...
So as I pulled it out, I had an erect penis in my hand looking at a picture of Our Lady. Came downstairs, what did my dad do? Good bath. I went, yeah, he went, good, because you know what they say? Cleanliness is next to godliness, and I thought, you know.
Johnny's taken us to a place we weren't prepared for.
I know.
I have to say, to your credit, you respected her.
You loved her, actually.
He did,
You loved
yeah.
Jean from Hants,
Yes.
and that is fine.
You don't remember the tumble dryer, the Saturn, unless you love him. And it was an Indesit 500.
Now, Claire, what is your original sin? What was that?
I hesitate to take you to a bathroom with children in it after that. But my brother, who is 2 years younger than me and I used to share a bath, and he made me laugh a lot, my brother, and we'd make each other laugh. And as Johnny knows, when you laugh, sometimes you're not completely in control of everything. Anyway, this thing was suddenly appeared on top of the water in the bath, and I screamed and said, Andrew's pooed in the bath, he's pooed in the bath, he's pooed in the bath. He has denied it that day and ever since. I was so convinced he did it, but the way in which he's continued to deny it nearly 45 years later makes me think maybe it was me.
Can I ask you something, Boulders?
Yes.
This isn't Prince Andrew, is it?
Oh, yeah, no, that's just my brother. You know, he is called Andrew.
He's called Andrew, yeah, just checking.
No, you know, it might be that Prince Andrew's guilty, but my brother almost certainly wasn't.
Who got the blame?
Well, he did, because I said it was him. Quite convincingly. In fact, I've always said it was him until now.
I think in your heart you know you did it, Claire.
Claire, you've always known that you've done it. That's the thing, Boulders. I'm sorry. You've always known. She's always known, hasn't she, Lou?
It has bothered me so much. It was the worst thing I could admit to, but it's not a patch on what Johnny does for fun.
But Claire, we can't live our lives in comparison to Johnny Vegas.
When I was growing up...
It's bad, I can tell. Yeah.
You know what? My classmates didn't like me. I was very badly bullied.
Right.
The big thing was the swings. There was only 2 swings, and all the kids wanted to run out and get the swings.
Yeah.
But you could get your friends to queue for you while you went and finished your lunch. No one would queue for me. So...
Oh, I see. So Cindy's going for sympathy on her story, is she?
Yeah.
All right, well, I was sad when I took the shit.
No. One time there was a field trip in the class, and I wasn't allowed to go on the field trip. So I ran out and I got a swing. And then as I was swinging, there were not a lot of kids around. I saw a young girl, about my age. She was staring directly at me with no expression.
Oh, gosh.
And I got this fear that she had an expectation that she should have the swing. So I was like, hey, you want the swing? Like, I came across so aggressive. And this kid she didn't say anything. She was totally deadpan. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna come off the swing. I'm gonna kill you. Oh, you wanna look at me? I'm gonna take out your eyes. Like, I said really bad things. I lost my mind. I jumped off the swing. I walked up to her and I punched her in the center of her face. She fell over.
I got a clap.
Who's clapping this? I don't know, but thank you. I've never hit anyone else in the middle of the face. Let me
Can I just say, this middle of the face, do you mean the nose?
No.
What is the middle of the face?
You know, like in the movies, you punch someone, it's like, I literally just went, poof, like here. I don't know what it was. So I got home, I walked in my front door, and in my living room, as I walked in, was sitting this kid. The same kid. She had a Band-Aid. She had a Band-Aid here. My mother came out of the kitchen with a tall, blonde woman and said, Sindhu, this is my new friend. She has a daughter who will be starting in your school. And we went in the kitchen. I was so shameless that I aggressed this kid in my kitchen. I turned and I said, if you say anything to my mother, you see what I'm going to do to you. This child had not spoken at all throughout this. She didn't know English. That was the problem. It's not like she couldn't speak. She just didn't understand English. She arrived the day before. But also, she never told my mom or her mom.
Of course she didn't. She knew what would happen.
So, 1996, I was just starting out in television, and I was a runner to start with for a production company, and I got a job on this wonderful show called Light Lunch, which was a show on Channel 4 that I imagine many of you...
One person.
It was a wonderful show to work on. 2 up-and-coming femme fatales of the comedy industry, I'd say, at the time.
We don't mention Sue on this show,
No,
actually.
we don't. And then we had these brilliant and raucous rap parties. So when the series finishes, everyone kind of goes out and has fun and gets a bit drunk. And our rap party was quite debauched. And... It was famous for kind of everyone kind of throwing off their kind of shackles and getting rid of any sexual tension that might have been built up through the series.
What sexual tension built up on Light Lunch?
So anyway, the rap party, long story short, everyone snogs everyone else. I end up snogging the talent. There are big rules in TV, and one is you don't snog the talent.
Well, you say that, but she's gone all the way with Mary Berry.
I've gone really quiet and
So
sweaty.
this is hard, Mel, because I don't know if this is unforgivable or not.
What?
You know.
No, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. You were in the.
I know.
position of
Was it
power.
unforgivable of me?
I feel a council coming on.
I think I was wearing pyjamas, Derms. What?
And that came later.
You probably did.
No. Did you do any hand stuff?
Oh, I don't.
Hang on, what?
I don't remember.
We didn't do hand stuff.
I don't.
Did you do... Did you do butt stuff?
Did we do what?
Butt stuff.
What stuff? It was just good, honest 90s noggin,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
90s noggin.
90s.
It was solid British anal. Old-fashioned British anal.
In 2003, I did a film with Gwyneth Paltrow, and the day before filming, I just arrived late night from a little comedy tour, and I didn't have enough clean clothes, so I didn't have any underwear. So I went through my son, who was 10 at the time. I saw he had a pair of swimming trunks, so I thought they'll do. So I put on his swimming trunks, which were very tight, they're 10-year-old tight.
Really tight.
I went on set with this, so what happened was, I'm there in the break just kind of doing this, kind of going... And then Gwyneth Paltrow said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, you know how it is, Gwyneth, when you wear your 10-year-old son's swimming trunks and the pubes get stuck to the top." She went, "No." Jude Law's behind her going, don't. He took me to one side, he goes, don't. I said, "She hates me." She goes, "She doesn't hate you, doesn't understand you. Ask her about her because she's not big on humour." So I said, "You look really beautiful, Gwyneth. How do you look so good?" And she said, "Well, it's my macrobiotic diet." She goes, "I drink water and I go to bed early." And as a joke, I said, "That's funny. Last night, I got home late and I had a Fanta and a kebab and I was masturbating to the sky at night, repeat." And you got Jude Law going, no. But I was determined to make her laugh. So she's in the dressing room next to me singing songs with her husband, Chris Martin.
Oh, dear.
Who I'd said hello to. He goes, "Oh, I saw you at the Comedy Store 6 months ago. You're so funny." And I thought she knew I was a comedian. I thought they both knew me. So I'm banging on the wall going, "Stop that fucking caterwauling! Fucking shut up!" Like that. And I can hear her saying, "I don't like him." And Chris Martin going, "He's just a comedian." And literally last week, I got a phone call from Bruce Hills, who runs the Montreal Comedy Festival. He goes, "There was a big comedy night, and Chris Martin, who loves comedy, he was there." Bruce said, "I wanted to just confirm that this story about you and Gwyneth Paltrow was true, because now they're divorced." And Chris Martin said, he goes, "Do you mean Omid Jalili?" And he said, "Yes." He goes, "Oh, my God, that guy is my hero."
That is brilliant.
Because they're split now, and I think it's because they had a sense of humour. I was just trying to make her laugh, but it just was really going disastrously.
I think it's nice of Gwyneth to speak to the extras.
I've heard she's just released a new candle. The fragrance is 3 a.m. kebab wank. So something went well. Something went well for you.
I want to apologise to my stepdad Keith.
Right.
If this is him, what I'm worried is he's now going to find out about probably the fourth not as bad thing that I've done to him, but this is still pretty grim. I used to go up and down to Great Ormond Street up until I was 16.
Right.
And we used to travel up from Kent on the train. And Keith, my stepdad, was taking me up there, and I was going in to have an operation. And my mum saw us off to the train, and he was saying goodbye to her, and I'd kind of sat down at the seat. And I found these, like, sandwiches underneath the seat in this, like, sandwich bag. So Keith's come and sat down, and Keith loves his food. Greedy man, he loves his food. And train set off, and I just gone to him, "Oh, Keith, Mum's made you some sandwiches." And I pass him this bag of, like, this clear plastic bag of sandwiches, and he kind of opens it up, and he goes to me, "They're Marmite. I've never had Marmite. Your mum doesn't know I like Marmite." And I turned around towards him, "She's made you sandwiches, and that's how you react. She's taken time to make you some sandwiches, and you're being that ungrateful, going, 'I didn't ask for Marmite.' What are you, a child?" And then he starts to eat when he goes, "Where's yours?" I was like, "I ate them, I was hungry." So I sit there and I watch him eat. It was like I could see, like, mould on the end.
Oh, no!
I was sitting there and I watch him eating these sandwiches, and literally, as he's just about finished the last bite, I just went to him, I found him underneath the seat.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dear, yeah.
Who do you need to apologise to in that there booth?
I haven't wronged that many people. I try not to.
It would be nice if you did have somebody to apologise to, just for the format of the show.
Well, my boyfriend broke up with me. We would have a big prom party and an after party, and you would hire security guards for that because you don't want the teenagers getting too inebriated and causing trouble in the woods. I loved my boyfriend so much, and he split up with me while I was wearing a tiara, which I didn't even think was allowed. And prom is meant to be the best time of your life.
Oh, prom sounds stressful.
Oh, no.
Prom sounds awful. We never had proms in our... We had the proms, you know.
It's the same, but with different wind instruments.
So what happened?
So when he dumped me on the dance floor at prom during Lady in Red.
What?
I thought, I'm not going through this again, this, like, torture and this heartbreak. And I looked around, and there was the security guard, and he was the biggest and oldest and most inappropriate person to get off with at the prom. And I made out with him, and that really upset my boyfriend because he had been drinking and he didn't remember breaking up with me. So the next day, he just thought I decided to get off with the security guard for no reason.
You smashed the patriarchy that night, I feel, Katherine Ryan.
I think the patriarchy smashed me pretty good. But, you know, I think I would apologise to that boyfriend because that boyfriend is my husband now.
And whose is the baby?
So when my daughter was about 9 months old, I heard about this swimming class for little babies.
Oh.
And I knew the minute I got there, it wasn't my place. I got into the changing room. I was getting really funny looks. I was the only person there who had pubic hair and wasn't Botoxed, and the only person who had a tan that wasn't from a bottle. So I came out of the class, and like babies do when they've had a bit of a swim, everything just relaxes, doesn't it? So my 9-month-old decided to let forth a tsunami of poo. Wow. You know, the kind of poo that is coming out the leg holes?
Yes,
that kind of
and going up the back.
And going up the back.
I had one today.
Oh.
So, of course, I had to change her and clean her, and there was this one woman who was a right biatch and was giving me evils and then was making loud comments about who they let in nowadays. What? Yeah, she was vile. So I didn't say anything. I just cleaned my daughter up, which took quite a long time, and managed to get this whole huge runny poo into one bulgy nappy bag. And Biatch went off for a shower, and she left her locker open.
Oh, Mira Soyal, you didn't. You didn't. She did.
So I put the nappy bag in her Gucci handbag.
Lovely.
It was unforgivable, but I'd do it again.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's marvellous.
I've got a dog, and she did a poop, and I put the poop in the bag, and I had to go into town, but I couldn't find any bins. So I thought I'll drop off Mildred in the flat, and then I'll put the poo bag in a bin on the way into town. And I forgot that I was holding a poop, and I got on the tube. And someone opposite me said, are you Sean Walsh? And I said, oh, yeah, yes. And they said, is that a bag of shit? Yes, it is, yeah. And I said, it's not mine.
Maisie, can we have your story, please?
When I was 19, I went and did Camp America. And I ended up being put in this very lovely summer camp in New Jersey, but it was basically a Bible camp.
Oh, gold.
I know. And I had a little camp romance with this lad who also worked there. He was American. And one night, we were down by the lake on this jetty. I really regret telling this story now because my mum is very supportive and likes to watch when I'm on shows. But I gave him a little hand shandy. And it was happening. And then when he nearly arrived at his destination, he stood up with such speed, and I've never seen it before and I've never seen it since, but he stood up on the jetty, whipped his trainer and sock off, and put the deposit into his sock.
Oh, wow.
And then tied and knotted it and threw it in the lake. And this all happened in about 7 seconds. It was such a... It was no, not from beginning to just...
Oh, OK. You're good.
Speedy Bible bashing.
No, just the move at the end was just... He'd clearly done it before.
Oh, yeah.
And he threw it into the lake and went our separate ways. And then the next morning, me and him were in charge of doing what was called a polar lake swim, where you get up in the morning at, like, 6 o'clock and you wake up all the kids and you all run down to the lake and jump in.
Wow.
And we jumped in, and suddenly this, like, little boy is just going...
Oh, my God.
I found something, I found something! And he fishes it, and it's the sock from the night before, and he was like... and was whizzing it round, so it was sort of car washing everyone around. And I had to be like, Brandon, put it down, you don't know where it's been. Because I knew exactly where it had been.
Maisie, that is a brilliant
I'm not
story.
proud.
Very, very good.
There was a time when I was a teenager and one of my friends got a perm and I didn't like it much. So I was like, I think I can make it better if I cut her hair.
Oh.
So I was like, come round to my house, I'll cut it. I know what I'm doing. Obviously, I've never cut hair in my frickin' life. So I made my friend stand in my parents' bath and I got a pair of scissors from the kitchen and I literally just made her, like, turn in a circle while I stayed still with the scissors. And so, inevitably, when I got round to the front, it was completely asymmetrical. And her dad came to pick her up and he was absolutely furious that I'd completely maimed her.
You did it on purpose.
I didn't mean for it to be that bad, but I definitely did want to improve her hair.
Josh is shitting himself with his perm.
I know you said you're not a hairdresser, but surely you've been to a hairdresser. When have you ever U-turned round?
I've never had a haircut in a bath before, anyway. It's all very odd.
So, perm girl, that is somebody that you definitely want to apologise to.
And who would bear a grudge, for sure.
Ooh, a big curly grudge. Now, Josh, who might you need to be apologising to?
So I'm a great bloke, right? But on one occasion, I was travelling. We're in Faliraki. A 2-week go and find ourselves in Faliraki, and me and my friends created this cocktail. It was ouzo, whiskey and gin.
Oh.
So there's no mixer in there, no ice. This was when binge drinking was, like, fine.
Yeah.
And this cocktail, it's not a cocktail, is it? This drink, this potion, did something to me, and I ended up kicking my nicest, bestest friend in the bollocks. Completely unprovoked, as hard as I could. I could have done anything in that state. This drink, what it did to me, and that would be my defence in court, would be, jury, go away, have a few of these tonight, come back tomorrow and see what you did.
Now, Stephen, we've had these two.
Yeah.
What's your apology?
I did a medical comedy quite a long time ago, and I played an anaesthetist. And it was called Green Wing, and to research it, I followed an anaesthetist round for the day in the hospital. And I was dressed up in all the gear. And I started off in the morning in gynecology.
Oi, oi.
But in the afternoon, we saw this guy, a very rare type of cancer, unusual cancer. This has taken it right down, isn't it?
Oi, oi.
It's sort of cancer operation where the guy was burning all his stuff. It took 14 hours, and the one surgeon did it for 14 hours in the abdomen. And we were sitting watching it, you know, from a distance, being very respectful. And the surgeon says, why don't you come in and take a closer look? So I said, OK, and I did, and I walked forward, and I tripped on the edge of a stand, and I fell forward, and my hand came out, and somebody grabbed me by the shoulder, because I was just about to put my hand through somebody's abdomen. Too much? So I would like to apologise, well, to everyone on the planet, really.
Oh, my days.
go back 8 or 9 years. Let's picture Paul McKenna. And he said, I want to hypnotise you, but I want to do it as a pre-record so that then we can play it out on the show and then you can react to seeing yourself hypnotised.
Great.
Oh, cool, that's brilliant, all right. And he started his, you know, hypnotic banter. 10, 9. Anyway, when we got to 1, I thought, oh, I'm not hypnotised. So instead, in a split second, I made the decision to go with it.
Oh.
And then he started asking me to do all these things.
In this day and age, you're going to have to be more specific.
So he said, now then, you are a gardener. The next thing I know, I am then getting up out of my chair with my eyes closed and being a gardener. And I thought, well, all right, fine, that'll be the end of that. No. You have now won the Grand National.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Here
God.
we go.
Oh, Alex. Oh, no. Right, off she goes. And I knew exactly what was going on. But it was too late. I was in too deep. You know, I said I just didn't want to be impolite.
Women do a lot of things because they don't want to be rude.
Thank you, Lou.
That's why I've got 3 kids. They're all Paul McKennas.
And so then I had to go through the whole thing of pulling me out of the trance, lie down again, and back in the room. Oh, God, what happened? The live show that evening, they play in the footage back to me. And there I was in a box having to react. I was like, oh, I can't believe I did that. Oh. And then afterwards, I had to tell my editor. I wasn't hypnotised then. He was like, oh, my God, BBC guidelines, you've lied.
Oh, sure. I mean, well done, though, for just blooming seeing it through.
We wanted to go to the planetarium in London. We thought it'd be romantic to look up at the stars.
Yeah.
But you have to, they make you go through Madame Tussauds. You can't just go to the planetarium and look at all the bunny stars. You have to go through all the waxworks and you have to go through the zigzag queue and it takes ages. And then we walked into the world leaders room.
Right.
And oddly, in that room, there was a waxwork of Hitler. And my husband said, for a laugh, should I have a photo with Hitler, just for a laugh? And I was like, yeah, let's do that. So I had an old crappy flip phone.
Yeah.
And I stood in front of him and he had his arm around Hitler. And I took a photo and he said, are we done? Because it was uncomfortable, because it was weird. And then people started to come in the room. Because we'd been alone to that point, people started to come in the room and they started to look across at my husband with his arm around Hitler. And I just kept taking photos. And in the end, I had 9 perfect photos. And he was mortified that I'd made him stand for so long with
everyone watching?
Yeah.
9, which, of course, in German, is no perfect pictures.
If only we'd been in Germany. No, not if only. Definitely not.
Chris, can we have your story, please?
I need to be quite vague about this so that I don't get any comebacks on this story. So, a long time ago in a galaxy far away, there was a house, and I lived there with some lads, and it was a shithole. To give you an idea, it had a shower in the kitchen, right? And not a shower, the only shower was in the kitchen, right?
My God.
It had a hole in the wall halfway up. So if the floor was wet and you went in and you slipped, your leg would go through the hole and stick out the outside of the building. And so if you ever went outside, they'd just see a leg halfway up the building, like there was some kind of glitch in the Matrix, right? The plumbing was so bad that if it rained more than slightly heavily, the sewage would explode out the toilet in the basement. And one of my mates I was living with woke up to find a turd floating past his bed one morning. So it was horrific. It was horrific. And we badgered the guy to fix up the things. He did absolutely nothing. So we moved out early and we said to him, listen, don't want any hassle. Keep the deposit. So one day, me and my mate, we've had a few beers. We're walking past the house. during the time that we're actually still paying for the place, but we're not living there anymore. And I've still got the key on my thing. I said, let's go in. And the cheeky bastard, he's had the place done up with our money during the time that we should have been in there, even though he wouldn't fix the place when we were living there. He'd had the place painted, he'd had the place carpeted, he'd fixed the hole, but all the gear was still there. So me and my mate thought, well, let's give him a hand with the decorating. We opened the paint and we threw the paint around and, you know, put the oil-based gloss on a few of the walls and on the carpet, and I'll be honest, we fucked the place up a little bit. Do you know what? I think part of this show is meant to be things that you feel bad about. But you know what? I feel glad I'd done it. So there you go. Do I get double points for that?
That's the spirit. If you do manky deeds like that and you actually enjoy them, you are going to do very, very well on this show.
If you put a glory hole in the bathroom, you're supposed to then give a discount to the tenants, because that's what I do for my guys.
What is a glory hole?
You put your dick through it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Listen.
On the last day of term, we had this crazy idea that we were going to get onto the school roof and sleep on there and we'd be like legends. So we all told each other's parents that we were at each other's houses, and my mum and my friend's mum were like, oh, there's something going on. But my mum didn't drive.
None of you drive in your family?
No, it's for the best. So she rang a taxi driver. We had like a taxi driver that became like a bit of a friend called Little John. He was 4'7", this guy.
And then you married him.
He came out in the middle of the night and helped my mum look for me. And it was like in like a woodland near the school, and he fell down a big hole. And my mum had to like get all the other parents to look for Little John instead. Wow. Yeah, my mum was really angry with him. She was like, I've fucking lost you now. Yeah, so I feel bad, and he's dead as well.
Little John is dead?
Yeah, he died.
Down
What, in the
down
hole?
the hole.
Are you serious? Did he die in the hole?
Well, that's a lot better story, isn't it?
I'm going to be very good details.
All right, my love.
Once upon a time, there lived a horrible man. He was a wrong one. He had a sports car, like a vintage car collection, and then he would just park it outside your drive, block you in. A really nasty bugger. I'm nasty to animals. I won't go into any details, I don't upset anyone. But...
Fucked a pig.
This is the final straw. He laughed at my Peugeot 406. So we went on a day's fishing trip and we had quite a good haul. 78 mackerel.
Oh, nice.
A conger eel about this high off the floor.
What's a conger eel?
A conger eel is...
It goes...
Got back to the house.
Go on.
And we started drinking and cooking up the fish and chopping up the and taking the heads off and the tails off and the fins off and the guts and the entrails. And so we had this massive black bin bag of guts and entrails, and blood and head and eyes and this. And we didn't have a council food waste bin in those days. So we emptied it all through the open sunroof.
So what was the comeback?
I have no idea what happened. As we did it, I mean, halfway through the bin bag, we regretted it, to be honest. But it was too late by that point. You can't go home with half a bin bag full. I mean, that's evidence.
This reminds me, actually, it's funny, it reminds me of a story. My uncle, he's really lovely, he's a really good bloke.
Yeah.
He went to somewhere near you and to open an orphanage, and somebody put loads of fish in his car.
I mean, the one detail I kept held back was that this guy was a paedophile.
So was my uncle.
Can I set the scene for you?
Oh, please.
I'm feeling like this is maybe 1990, possibly 1991, yeah?
Love
so
it.
It's little Goose, mini Goose.
Mini Goose.
Before the beers. Still a little wanker, but I was little at the time. my mum, single mum, working hard for us, me and my sisters and that. She invested at the time in something called a VCR. It's quite a rare thing on our street. Not many people had VCRs. So my sisters, who were older than me, very proud of it. And then they retell the stories, one of my earliest memories, of me walking up to that VCR for no good reason and then pissing in the flap of the VCR.
Oh, no. I suppose it's early streaming technology, isn't it?
Come
on. But did it work after that, though?
No, there was steam coming out, like smoke coming out. The one thing I do remember is, like, obviously pissing in the flap, yeah? And it was turned on, and it's sparking.
Wow.
So one of the first memories I have of the magic that my can do, yo, it causes sparks and electricity. I will never forget that moment because even at that young age, it's the first time I was ever kicked in the chest.
By your mum?
Yeah, by my mum. She came out of nowhere, BOW! Kick in the chest. The footprint was on my chest for quite a long time. And some of you might be thinking that's harsh to kick like a 5-, 6-year-old in the chest. I never pissed in that VCR again. Never, ever.
Amazing, guys. What a fantastic start.
Back when I was living at home, as you'd imagine, a young man in his bedroom, we like alone time. And rather than go through a lot of tissue paper, I had what I called my self-love towel. Oh. So it wasn't even a towel, it's like one of those Jack Daniels bar mat things. Oh. And this is going to get much worse. It's a kind of good thing I've got this, actually. So, what I would do was lay the mat across my stomach and then complete my self-love onto the towel, wrap it over, and it was clean and I was ready to go. I was going out.
This is so unpleasant.
I was going to get back.
It's awful. Carry on.
Terrible. I knew that I'd be meeting a lady friend.
Yeah.
So, to make it last longer, clear the pipes before you go out, right? That towel's now on my bed. Now, my friend who was coming out with me, he just had a donut. And he's in my room, just finished a donut, and he's got jam on his hands. So, yeah. So he's gone, is that clean? But now, before I've got a chance to answer, he just grabbed this towel and started trying to wipe the jam in his hands. And the confusion on his face when it was not getting any less sticky.
That's the wrong gong right there. That's extra points, Emmanuel.
It's worse. I've never told him. He's going to be watching it and realising now.
Wow. Shirley, it's finally time for us to judge you.
Well, this actually is one of the worst stories. So I sort of want to set the scene. It was many, many years ago, and it was whilst I was married to a husband. As you know, I've had a few. So I was at practice one evening. We were practicing our cha-cha-cha, and then I noticed my husband then went and sat down, and next to him went this lovely young lady that was actually the babysitter of my son at the time.
No.
And they were sitting so close that it made me uncomfortable. So I went over to her and I said, if you get any closer to him, you'll be sitting on his face. So that disturbed my husband at the time. We went home. There was a few words said. A few nights later, he didn't come home. I said, where have you been? He said, well, actually, I had to fit new light bulbs in for Mrs. X, we'll call her. So he was out fixing her light bulbs.
Is that a euphemism?
It just all looked a little wrong to me. Anyway, we go up to the British Dance Championships. So I'm sitting there watching the competition. I've got a lovely front row seat. And then my little boy said to me, Mummy, I need to go to the bathroom. I said, OK. Off we went. Got him by the hand, walking backstage, and here she comes. She taps me on the shoulder and I turn around. She said, we need to talk. I said, leave it. This is not the time and the place. I took a few more steps forward. She tapped me again. I turned round. I said, please, I just explained to you, it's not the time and the place. Third time she tapped me, she says, you just have to get used to the fact I fucked your husband. And with that, There's a white angel and a red angel, and I looked at her and I went, boom! Over she went. My little boy was stood there like this. And I just looked and people were going, was that Shirley Ballas? Was that Shirley Ballas that just did that? Needless to say, I did not see the final that evening. I was rather embarrassed. But when I look back on it, I was quite happy I gave it a bit of welly.
At college,
yes,
we went on a tour of Europe with a play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that the unforgivable bit?
That's it. Thank you. Good night. Midsummer Night's Dream.
Great.
And after the show, we met some American professors, and we all went out, and we got, I'm going to say, too drunk. And we were all very overexcited, and they were like, "Way!" and I was like, "Way!" And they were like, "You're the best actor of your generation." And I was like, "Guys, I'm going to have to tell this story on telly." Stop it. And as I was about to leave, one of the professors said, "Would you like a bag of weed?" And I went, "Yeah!" And I took it, and I got on the coach, and I heard someone behind me say, "When we wake up in the morning, we'll be in Czechoslovakia." And I was like, "Where?" Oh. And early on in the day, I'd been fiddling around with the roof of the coach, and the panel had come down. So I wrapped it in a bit of paper, and I pulled down this panel, and I shoved it up, and I put it down, and I passed out on my seat. I wake up 3 hours later. The coach is surrounded by Czechoslovakian soldiers outside the coach, and 2 Alsatians.
Oof.
And 2 soldiers came onto the coach.
Oh, that's
and
scary.
The sniffer dog was just outside the door of the coach. And the 2 soldiers stood there, and he sort of looked down the coach, and I'm sitting there just trying to look normal. And then they get off and they leave, and we drive into Czechoslovakia, and I'm like, and I say to everyone, I'm really sorry, but they gave it to me. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to be rude and not take it. And now I've got it, and it's in the roof. And they were like, if you'd been, we could all have been thrown in, they don't muck about.
They really don't muck about, no.
And I said, don't worry about it. Because, look, this coach is, 20 years old? It could have been, how many trips has this coach done? If they found it, you just say, oh, well, I mean, it's not us. It could be anyone. And I pulled down the thing, and I pulled it out, and I'd wrapped it in an envelope. And on the envelope, it said my name and my address.
Oh, Stevie. I mean, schoolboy error, you should, ideally, have just popped it up the Arnus.
That would be much better, wouldn't it? So, when you're a kid, you sort of get really into things, right, as a teenager. I was really fascinated by tidal waves, suspension bridges and enemas. I was like, wow, what is that? Like coffee enemas? Like, what the fuck, enemas? Like, what's the deal with enemas?
Does it involve your arse?
I feel like you would know, Carol.
I do know.
She's had one. Right, tell us everything.
Which type of coffee do you get?
I prefer a mild roast.
It is fascinating.
Yes,
now it's even more fascinating.
Sorry. Yes.
So, when I was 14, my sister went on a gap year to Australia.
Right.
And we all went to visit her, me and my 2 sisters and my mum and dad, and we stayed in a really nice hotel.
Lovely.
Because my dad's a famous actor. So, and it was like a spa hotel. And there was this beautiful swimming pool. And I was in the swimming pool.
Lovely.
Thinking about suspension bridges, tidal waves, and enemas. And, in pools, they've got those, jet things.
Underneath.
No, the things that, blow out the water.
Yeah,
the heating thing.
Yeah.
And it was a big pool. It was me in one corner, and I saw them. And then in the other end of the pool, there was a woman and, a 4-year-old toddler. They were playing in the other end of the pool. So I was like, I'm going to give myself an enema. So... So awful!
Down with
Down with the trunk.
Because no one can see what's going on beneath the waterline, can they? So I sort of backed up against it. Look, I was 14. Yeah. And I was like, oh, OK, that's what an enema feels like. And before I knew what was what...
Did it feel good? No.
It was all right. Yeah, it was all right. It was all right. And...
That pause was so telling, wasn't it?
Yeah. It felt all right. But before I could really work out how good or strange or whatever it felt, a little poo popped out my bum. Not little, a 14-year-old...
Yeah.
Massive turd.
Yeah.
And I saw it float past me.
Wow!
And then, before I could say anything, my mum was like, oh, my God, there's a poo in the pool. And I was like, oh, no, that baby just pooed in the pool. It was that 4-year-old who did it.
Wow.
I was 18 years old and I was on the cusp of losing my virginity. And the reason why I say the cusp is because I just wasn't that arsed about losing it. To be honest, the only person that I fancied was Orlando Bloom as Legolas in Lord of the Rings. But then I turned 18 and I was like, nah, I should probably do this. And I'm not being funny, I had a lot of willing participants. And I met this guy, so we went on a date, and eventually he walked me home. And he was like, oh, could I come in? I was like, no, because I live with my very Nigerian Christian parents. And he was like, I would like to have sex with you. And I was like, so does everybody else. I don't think this is going to be the right time. But we ended up behind a van. And we were snogging, and he really wanted to have sex. But I was like, this is not quite how I imagined it. And then I did that thing where you feel like beholden to a man and you've got to be pleasant. And so I thought, what would be the next best alternative to my vagina? So I decided to lift up my shirt and present to him my belly button. And what was crazy was that he knew what to do. So he got his cock out and he proceeded to just push it into my belly button. And so bizarre. And I remember looking down, seeing his willy going into my belly button, going, oh, I don't think I like this womanhood thing at all. Because if this is what it's going to be like, I'm not in.
Nor was he.
No, he wasn't me. He didn't even touch the sides. Anyway, so he did a few jabs, and then he looked at me really sadly and went, it's not the same.
Well, I worked at TK Maxx.
Oh, nice.
Yes, thank you. It was nice. Yes, very good. But basically, I couldn't fold clothes. But someone put down 2 suits. I'd been put on the cash desk, and I really panicked, and I thought, I can't let these people see that I don't know how to fold a suit. This will be a disaster.
Yeah.
So in the moment, I thought, I know what I'll do. And I said, tell you what, if you fold the suits and bag them, I'll detag them and you can have them for free. I mean, they looked shocked and they were like, are you sure? And I went, yeah, definitely. Do you fold them and I'll detag it. And
so they did?
And they did. And that's not why I actually got sacked from TK Maxx, because they didn't find out about that. The reason I got sacked from TK Maxx is because I fell asleep under the coats.
I think working in, like, retail, that's such a good job when you're that... I mean, I was rubbish at it. Like, a woman was like, oh, can I come back for this jumper at the end of the day? I said, yeah, of course. What name shall I keep it under? She said Deborah with an H, and I wrote Hebra. That's bad, isn't it?
The first time I ever went to a restaurant without my parents, I did a runner. I'm sure we've all done it. Have we?
No.
We've all done it. I mean, it is a terrible thing, and I hate myself for doing it. So myself and my friend James, we had never done a runner before, so we didn't know, like, exactly what was involved or anything. Anyway, we have all our starters and main courses, desserts, and we have the wine and everything, and we're laughing away throughout the whole thing. If you were working in a restaurant, you'd know, what are they laughing at? You know, they must be up to something. And then at the prearranged signal, we ran. We actually trained for this. And we ran for about 2 or 3 miles so as he wouldn't be able to catch us. So that was grand. We got away with it. So the adrenaline is really high and you think this is brilliant. So, you know, so we tried it a few other times and eventually caught out a few years later in London. We were all sitting around in a pizza restaurant.
Yes.
And there was about 10 of us all together. 8 of them ran. I froze. I panicked. I had developed a conscience in the meantime or something. And so myself and this other guy, we were left behind, and we had to pay for everybody for the whole...
No.
Yeah.
We did something similar. And one of our number, it was not me, during the meal, went out to a local phone box and phoned the restaurant to say that there was a bomb in the restaurant. So they cleared the restaurant.
And then you did put a bomb in, didn't you?
Well, I worked in a restaurant in London. And sometimes you were a waiter, and that was good because you made some money. But then sometimes you'd be on the deli counter, and then the worst was you had to do the dishes.
Oh.
I'd been working there all summer, and then it was my last shift. And obviously, they thought, let's make him wash the dishes on his last shift. Oh, you imagine, I was so pissed off. So I'm washing the dishes. Everyone's left now. They've all gone. It's just the manager, and he was in a little kind of office bit, you know, doing the books or whatever he was doing. And there was still so much washing up to do. So I just thought, fuck this, I am never coming back. So I hid the dirty dishes, dirty pots, all over the restaurant, in cupboards, under tables, and then just wiped down the surfaces and went, finished!
Yes.
And out I went.
Desiree, who do you need to apologise to?
So this was a young man in my suburban California neighborhood who had the misfortune of being home one day that I discovered as a 15-year-old that I was lactose intolerant. I discovered this because we'd all gone out for frozen yogurt after seeing a film, and then I walked home, and as I was about 20 minutes away from my house, was overcome with severe diarrhea. So I just started ringing doorbells and knocking on doors. So imagine, like, 15-year-old sweaty me, like bang, 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 like in suburban America. Like, I'm lucky to be alive, right? But anyway, I get to be honest, right? I knock on the door, this guy answers, and he's like, yeah, can I help you? And I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. I can't make it home, but I do live in the neighborhood. Can I please use your bathroom? And he was like, are you sure you can't make it home? And as he asked if I was sure, I completely shat in my jeans on his doorstep.
Loving this story. Loving it.
He's like, come on in. So then I go in there, and I had to, like, dump the jeans into the sink because they were already full. So this is a mess. So there was poo there. Then it was like, and then I just got into the toilet, but it was, like, on the lid. And then I'm just, like, wiping. Like, this is a nightmare. Like, from his point of view, he was at home having a great time. Someone showed up, shat on the doorstep, ruined the bathroom, and disappeared. That was his experience.
Surely there's some etiquette. Don't you send flowers or... I don't, like... Yeah. There must be some etiquette.
Thank you, no.
Yeah, thank you. No, I have to say, if that could be that, then I have a very similar thing where I was on a bus in Turkey, and we'd been out for dinner the night before, and my boyfriend at the time, he'd had terrible diarrhea all night, and I was so smug. I was like, look at him. Like, we ate exactly the same thing, and he's so sick. I'm fine. Anyway... We get to the bus station for this, like, 6 or 7 hour bus thing. We get on the bus, and literally the doors go for our 7 hour bus ride. And I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
No. And I remember holding on to the seat in front, just like the sweating like that, and just going, I'm in bits. And then finally, I just couldn't hold it anymore.
What can you do?
And so I shat myself on this bus in Turkey. And then the bus stopped and the door opened and I got up.
Nope.
And everyone in the bus, because we were the only European, they all talked about, no, sit, this isn't the stop. And I sat down.
No.
And I'm now thinking, oh no, can they smell it now? Because actually it was quite contained after this. And I look in the floor of the bus and there's just a little drop of shit. And I'm looking at it and as I come up, I meet the eye of the person on the other side of the eye who was also looking at the shit. Yeah. So maybe, I don't know, is the bus driver in there?
Yeah.
My parents divorced when I was 15. That was fine with me. I really respect a 40-year-old woman's right to start her life anew. What I didn't appreciate is that she started dating a man who's 4 years older than I was. And that man is now my stepdad. And he had just graduated from my high school. So, crucially, I was at a new high school, and his previous girlfriend was the most popular girl in my school. He dumped her for my mom. But I responded by becoming a bad girl myself.
Oh, hello.
And that's when I really lashed out, and I keyed his jet ski. Yes, he had a jet ski. I ruined his jet ski, I ruined his car, I tried to ruin his life. But now he's my stepdad and we're friends.
But